So a few New Year's ago, my friends and I were camping. I'm gonna call them K and D, which are super secret code names, and if you know us, you'll totally not have any idea who I'm talking about. We were camping in this really lovely campsite in New Zealand, and it was the day before New Year's, and D and I were having a walk around the campsite and checking it out. Well, Kay was hanging out with some friends around a bonfire. She wasn't feeling super great, so she didn't want to come for a walk with us. And D and I went down to this beach. So the campsite was on the edge of a river, and there was a few areas that were sandy. And so there was kind of this beach at the other end. And these children were playing in the sand and making sandcastles, and people were splashing around in the water. Because December in New Zealand is of course summertime, so we all have our summer holidays and celebrate Christmas. And Dee and I were just having a lovely stroll along the beach and chatting, and we looked down and there is, lying in the sand, a hoof. Like a hoof, and then part of a leg of what I could only assume was a deer. And then just kind of not cleanly cut, but sort of snapped at the bone. It was like pretty feral. There wasn't any blood or anything. We looked around, we had no idea how this got there, and it looked real, right? And I mean, it probably was real, because who's gonna like make a fake hoof and leg and just leave it on the beach? So we're standing there looking at this, and some of the other kids had seen it and pointed and gone, ew, gross. I said other kids. We weren't the kids. We were in our 20s. Some of the children were like, ew, a hoof, and then they ran away. And there were some parents there looking at the kids, and they obviously noticed it as well, but no one was doing anything about it. There was just this hoof lying there. It's like I got a stick and poked it, and it moved the way you would assume a real severed hoof leg would move. It was about this long, it wasn't like the entire leg, but it was big enough. And I go, man, this is really gross. We should go show Kay. And Dee goes, yeah, cool, why not? So like, I think I picked it up with a stick or maybe my fingers, I can't remember. And we're carrying it back to the campsite to show Kay, because we're like, it'll be great. Kay will love it. It was Kay's birthday that day. And I didn't know, Kay didn't tell her. She didn't say anything. So I hadn't gotten her anything. I don't know if Dee had or not, but either way, I was like, we'll show her this hoof and it'll be funny, and, I'll be like, don't say I didn't get you anything for your birthday. I showed you this interesting thing that we found. But of course it was a few days after Boxing Day, right? After Christmas. So the campsite was littered with wrapping paper. So we're walking back, you know where this is going, right? We're walking back to the campsite with this hoof, and Dee goes, hey. Wait, I think I said this. I'm trying to put the blame on someone else. This was years ago. I think I said, hey. I think I was like, hey, we should wrap it up in this wrapping paper. So we picked up a piece of wrapping paper, we put the hoof in it, the wrapping paper still had sellotape on it, so we wrapped this hoof up real nice and like put the tape down, just pick this wrapping paper off the ground, and then we're carrying this present back to the campsite. And we get there and we're like, hey Kay, we got your present. And Kay goes, oh cool, really? What is it? And we hand her this wrapped hoof. We hand her the present, right? The present, and she holds it and she wobbles it and she's like, oh, did you guys get me a dildo? That was so thoughtful, because it was the kind of same length and it sort of wobbled a little bit but was a bit stiff, right? So of course that's the first thing she thought of. And so she opens this present and there's this severed hoof in the thing, and I've never seen anyone shoot across a field that quickly backwards. Like, she was 10 feet away from us in a beat, and she starts like freaking out. She's like, you guys are so gross, oh my god, why would you do that? And Dee and I are just on the ground laughing, like we're pissing ourselves, right? It's just one of those things that you don't really plan, and it just kind of unfolds. So she's freaking out and we're laughing on the ground, and this hoof's sitting there in this wrapping paper. Anyway, she came around after a few minutes and then she started laughing with us and she thought it was funny. So I had a good ending. You know, I told my girlfriend later that day and she goes, if you did that to me, I would have broken up with you. So I don't recommend doing this to people, you know, you have two reactions. Yeah, so after freaking out, Kay like decided that she was okay with it and, you know, she laughed along with us. And then for some reason she had a condom, so we put the hoof in the condom and then put it in the bin. I think we thought it was gonna like sanitize it or something. I don't know. We threw it out. Yeah, and then that evening we were going for another walk through the campsite and these kids pointed at us and they're like, those are those people from the other camp that picked the hoof up. Why would they pick the hoof up? What freaks? They're the ones who took the hoof. And that's what we were known as at the campsite for the rest of our stay, were those freaks that took the hoof from the beach.